So we'll try to prove all these things. So I think you remember what do you mean by inconsistent? What do you mean by inconsistent? Set of statements are inconsistent.
Ma'am, that they contradict each other.
They contradict each other, right? Finally, you will arrive at a what type of conclusion? Contradiction. That is the thing. Okay, we'll start doing the first question. Question number 1. P tends to Q. Q tends to R. Okay, what is the previous question? S tends to not R, I think. It should be S tends to not R. Okay. S tends to not R, comma P and S. And S. Which one we can use? It's very easy. This one. Can you try for 2 minutes and tell me? You can try and tell me.
Ma'am, we can start with P tends to Q.
Okay.
And then introduce Q tends to R.
Okay. These two are rule P.
Rule P. And then we'll have P tends to R.
What is this called? You are deriving something from this, so you can call it as a rule T. What is the rule that
Hypothetical syllogism.
Okay, hypothetical syllogism.
Then 1 minute.
Of 1 and 2. Okay, correct. Then we have used these two. So we are left out with 2 more.
Ma'am, from P and S, P is true.
Okay, first we'll write P and S. Okay. From that P is true.
Yes,
This is called a simplification, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Then these two can use, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So if you use 3 and 5, what is the result that we'll be getting?
We get R, ma'am.
R from 3 and 5. What is that called?
Modus ponens.
Modus. So you have to write rule T. Yeah, because you are deriving something new, so it is rule T. Okay. Then again from this you can derive yes. 7. Yes. Simplification of 4. We used all the 3. So S tends to not or we have to introduce. S tends to not or rule P. Then
Ma'am, can you go back to the previous slide once?
yes, pa, yes.
Okay, ma'am. Good.
Ma'am, we can use 6 and 8, ma'am. R and S tends to not
7
R.
and 8. R 7 and 8 you can use directly, right? 7 and 8.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
6 and 9 also correct, but 7 and 8 obvious. It is very easy to not R. From 7 and 8 using modus ponens. 6 and 8 means modus tollens has to be used. That's all. So rule T. So I think already we have arrived at a contradiction. 9 you have not R. 6 you have R. R and nata from 6 and 9. Here you have to write which is a contradiction, false. It cannot come together. A statement is true and it is also not true. You cannot say together. So R and nata is false from 6 and 9. Hence, the given set of premises are inconsistent. If you want, you can see from the beginning.
Ma'am, can we write the premises as number of times as we want?
Yes, yes. The order you can change any way you can write. It is up to you to decide.
Ma'am, can you go to the next slide?
Yes.
Okay, got it, ma'am.
Shall we move on to the next question then?
Yes, ma'am.
Take down this. A tends to B tends to C. D tends to B and not C. A and D. If you want, you can try for a while. 2 minutes you can try and then tell your suggestion. Each of you can tell your suggestion. It's not, there is no unique way of proving this. It is up to you to start and prove it. I hope you have taken down the question. Question number 2. A tends to B tends to C, comma, D tends to B and not C, comma, A and D. Okay, are you doing?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So any idea how to proceed?
Ma'am, from A and D, A can be taken as true, even D can be taken as true, and then we can use with the other rules.
Yes, correct. So first I'll introduce A and D. Rule P. A is true. I can write like this. A is true. D is also true. Or if you want, you can write two different ways. A is true. Simplification of 1. Simplification of 1. Then
we can introduce A tends
to B tends to C. Rule P. Then D. Simplification of 1. D tends to B and not C. Rule P. I'm introducing this. Then using this and this, I'll get B and not C. What is that? 4 and 5 I'm using.
Modus ponens.
Using modus ponens on 4 and 5. Okay, then. Some result is left over now, right?
We'll get B tends to C if we use.
I didn't use these 2 and 3, right? I have to use that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so use 2 and 3. So we'll get B tends to C from 2 and 3 using modus ponens again. Hey, is this clear? Am I going fast? Okay. Then you have to use these 2 only now. No other go. Right? So what you can do is from B and not C, you can say B is true. B is true and B tends to C is true. So C is true. And also not C is true. So there is a contradiction. 8. B is true. Simplification of 6. 6 are?
Yes, ma'am.
Simplification of 6. So B is true, B tends to C is true. So C is true from 7 and 8 using modus ponens. Then not C is true, simplification of 6 again. So C and not C from 9 and 10. A contradiction. Hence, from 11, it is obvious that the given set of premises are inconsistent. Premises are inconsistent. Okay, shall we move on to the next question? Third question. Third question, I think you have taken down.
Ma'am, 1 minute.
Right, no problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Question number 3. PRQ, comma, PRQ tends to not R, comma, not R tends to, I think this is very easy. SN not T, comma, SN not T tends to ARB, implies AR. You try for 2 minutes. It's easy, very, very easy. Okay, which one you can introduce first?
The first two premises, ma'am.
First two, or shall we complete this cycle?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Anyway, I'm not saying you are wrong. This I'm introducing rule P. Then I'm introducing the second one, third one. So from 1 and 2, what you get? I'm using this one and this one. It is like P tends to Q, Q tends to R. It is P tends to R. That is PRQ tends to S and not T from 1 and 2 using hypothetical syllogism. Then I'll introduce the fourth one, this one. S and not T tends to ARB. Rule P again. Again use 3 and 4. So PRQ tends to ARB from 3 and 4 using hypothetical syllogism again. Next again. So still we are left out with PRQ. Now you can use 5 and 6. It gives you ARB from 5 and 6 using mod exponents. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. So in third question, they have not asked us to prove it is inconsistent. They gave some valid result. That result we need to prove. Okay. If you have completed, you can say we will move on to the next question. Shall we move on to the next question?
Ma'am, wait, ma'am, 1 second.
Okay, no problem. No.
Okay, ma'am, done.
Okay, fourth question we'll do it in the tutorial session. I'll tell you what do you mean by rule CP, right? It's called conditional proof. Okay. So please listen carefully. Suppose, okay, you have a set of premises P1, P2, etc., Pn, and from all these premises, my aim is to prove P tends to Q. So directly you can use all these premises and try to prove P tends to Q is true. So that is one way of doing it. Is it called direct proof? So far we have seen only direct proof, right? There is another proof called conditional proof. See, instead of proving P tends to Q is true, what I do is, I'll ask you something. When will P tends to Q be true? Whenever P is true, Q should be true. Okay, the other cases I don't mind. When P is true, Q is false, then it won't be false. So, P tends to Q true, meaning is, whenever P is true, Q is true. Okay, so what I do is, instead of proving this, I'll assume P as an additional premise along with this and simply prove Q is true. So my aim is, instead of proving P tends to Q is true, I take P as an additional premise with the along with the given set of premises. So totally I have n plus 1 premises now. Simply I need to prove only Q is true, which is called conditional proof. So whenever you want to prove P tends to Q is true, assume P is true and try to prove that Q is true. Okay? Okay, suppose see, I want to prove this. How do you apply conditional proof here? Okay, don't go to the first question first. Go to the second question. I think that will be easy. Along with these given three premises, assume P as true and just to prove that yes is true. That is called conditional proof. Okay, please take down the second question first. Take down the second question. Then we'll move on to the third question. Then first question we'll do in the tutorial session. This question is also easy one. Shall we do the second question now? B part. Not P R Q, comma, not Q R R, comma, R tends to S implies P tends to S. This is the thing you need to prove. Okay. So using CP, okay, what I'll do is, it is enough to prove comma R tends to S. What should I assume? Extra premise? Hello? What should be my extra premise along with this? P.
P, ma'am.
And I should prove only S is true. This means that the first statement is true, right? So now these are the given set of premises and this is your conclusion. Okay. Serial number, premise, rule. First one. Shall I introduce? Which one you will introduce here? Yeah? I'll use P. Any idea? You want to think for a minute? Okay, you think and then say. 1 or 2 minutes you think, you get an idea and then say.
not P or
Ma'am, we
What
can
I should
introduce 1 and 2.
introduce? Should I introduce P?
Ma'am, we can
not
introduce
P
the
or
first
Q
two.
and
What should I introduce here?
Ma'am, the first two premises.
I'm not able to hear.
Ma'am, first two premises. Not P or Q and
First two premises. Okay. See, there are many ways of doing this. Here. I'll tell all the ways. Either you can write not P or Q as P tends to Q, and this one as Q tends to R. So this becomes what? P tends to R. Then P tends to R and R tends to S will become P tends to S. So along with that, if you use P, you will get S.
Yes, yes. Ma'am.
That is one way of doing it. Or take not P or Q on P. There is something called disjunctive syllogism, right? Not P or Q, comma P. So what will be the result?
Q.
Yeah, not P or Q, that is true. And along with that, P is true. See, when will this statement be true? Either not P is true or Q is true. But I am saying not P is not true. That is P is true. That means Q should be true, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Disjunctive syllogism. So I'll get Q from this. Then what I'll use is Q and not Q or R. So I'll get R from this. Then I'll use R and R tends to S. So I'll get S from this. This is one way of doing it. Or what you have to do is you have to write not P or Q as P tends to Q. Equivalent, right? Not Q or R as Q tends to R. So which way you want to follow? Both ways you can do. Which way, yeah?
This first
Which
method.
first method, this shall I use?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Not P or Q. Rule P. So now I'll introduce P along with this. Rule P. Then third one, using these two, I'll get Q, disjunctive syllogism on 1 and 2. Then fourth one, I'll use not Q or R. I'll introduce that. Rule P. Then you can use third and fourth. So that will give you R. So using disjunctive syllogism on 3 and 4. Okay. Then R tends to S. Again rule P. Then S from 5 and 6 using modus ponens. Hence proved. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. Is this clear?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, you are writing? Okay. So what is the third question? PRQ tends to R. This is the only given premise, and from this I need the conclusion P and Q tends to R. So how do you prove that using CP? I have something, some A tends to B format I have. So if A tends to B, if I need to prove using conditional proof, what you will assume? A as additional premise and just try to prove R is true. Correct? Is that right? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
So what I should do? So using CP, okay, 1 minute, sorry. Using CP, PRQ tends to R, comma P and Q implies R. This is the thing I need to prove, right? Okay, can you say the proof? It's, I think, very easy. Which one you can use first? P and Q. That means P is true. P is true. Then I'll ask you something. Okay, after this, how to proceed here? Next, I have only PRQ tends to R.
And we can use addition rule. So from P we can go to P or Q.
PRQ, very good. So PRQ from 2 using addition rule. Good. Because it's very simple, right? Whenever P is true, PRQ is always true. If any one of this is true, then PRQ is true. P is already true. Okay. Then introduce PRQ tends to R. Rule P. So from 3 and 4, R is true. That is using modus ponens. There is one more way of proving it. Direct method we have seen, conditional proof we have seen. There is one more method of proving it called indirect method. In indirect method, whatever we want to prove, we'll assume the negation of that as an additional premise and try to arrive at a contradiction. Okay, let me not confuse today. In the next class we can see, because I have another meeting now. Have you taken down this? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
today I'll stop here.